It wasn't hot. I was coming downhill. If anything, it was a little bit, cooled. So why am I sweating? Uh, a drop lands on my hand as I'm on my handlebars, and then I realize it's red and it's blood. So I took this mountain bike ride. Pretty standard for me on a weekend, right? Go get a workout, meditate up on top of this beautiful park called Daniels Park, still there. Very built up now since then, over 30 years now.
Where's Daniels Park? That's in
Daniels
Idaho?
Park is southwest, southwest of Denver.
Okay.
So it was a sort of a little yuppie neighborhood that we had bought a house in. So and it was very remote at that time. Now it's its own city, but at that time it was just this old ranch. So happened to be co-located with a ancient Indian burial ground, and so I have a bit of Native American blood in me. My great grandfather took a Sioux wife when he was traveling west as part of, I don't know if it was the gold rush or what. So always very respectful of Native American cultures. Not to mention, I saw Jeremiah Johnson and what happened to the folks when they violated that Indian burial ground. Didn't go well, right? Maybe we could talk about that in this notion of, advanced cultures meeting less advanced cultures, and usually doesn't go good for the less advanced ones, right?
Yep.
Anyway, so I had ridden by it several times and just noted it, not a big deal. But this time, for some reason, and I still, to this day, I don't understand why, I turned around and suddenly felt an obsession that I had to go in. So I grabbed my mountain bike and I climbed up over this fence, got on the other side, and I climbed into the saddle, and I was going to ride down. I was like, nope, that's not respectful. You don't ride a bike in a cemetery. Matter of fact, you'll get fined. You'll get thrown out of any national cemetery. You try to ride a bike in Arlington, good luck on that. You will do some time in a slammer, literally, for that, because it's just so disrespectful to all the veterans, whatever. So I started walking, and then I felt a drip on my nose, and I'm, again, scientifically with Occam's razor, trying to slice through anything, even now, but I wasn't sweating. Why? It wasn't hot. I was coming downhill. If anything, it was a little bit, cooled. So why am I sweating? A drop lands on my hand as I'm on my handlebars, and then I realize it's red and it's blood. I'm like, oh crap, I got a bloody nose. But it wasn't just like a drip every few seconds. It suddenly became a gusher. I'm like, what the hell is this? I mean, I didn't fall off my bike. We've been living here for a year. And so it wasn't like I'm suddenly dry. I'm thinking of all these mechanisms, right? And so there are a lot of experiencers and abductees who do this to ourselves. We try to scientifically dismiss it. Randall Nickerson, one of John Mack's patients, and I talked about this at length, that we don't want to believe it. So we try to categorize ourselves some other way. So I'm trying to convince myself I hadn't fallen off my bike. There was no reason for me to have this gushing bloody nose. But I laid down and I was out immediately. Like, it didn't take more than a second to me be unconscious. And I woke up freezing. I woke up shivering, which is common. The Front Range of Colorado is pretty desert-like. And so after the sunset, it wasn't, it might have been, I don't know, 60 degrees or whatever, but without moving, and I felt like I had bonked somehow, that I had reached a level of exhaustion, which didn't make sense for a half hour, 45-minute bike ride. Right? It didn't make any sense at all. So I end up continuing in this anomalous behavior. So as a behavioral scientist, I know what is normal for most folks. and I certainly know what's normal for me. And it didn't make any sense that I would haul that bike up to this mesa where this bright light was shining, a bunch of bright lights. And in my mind, I felt, since I was attending the Colorado School of Mines, that it must have been a drilling rig, right? And it didn't occur to me why they must have gotten some permit to drill in this Indian burial ground. I can't imagine how they did that, but let's go check it out. Oh, excuse me. So I was a moth to the flame, and I dragged that mountain bike through all this scrub oak, scratching me, and I get up on top there, and this is and things get weird. It was already kind of weird, but now it's really weird because I have this fuzzy memory of a fuel truck, what I thought was a fuel truck. And so I kind of daintily kind of walk my bike up around it, and I look up into the cab of the fuel truck at about, I don't know, 20-degree angle maybe or whatever. And in the cab of this fuel truck is this guy with a red plaid shirt. And at that point, I become very anxious and afraid. And I turn around and I walk my bike back around the back of that fuel truck. And I sense that there's a clearing over in front of the fuel truck with a bunch of other lights or whatever. So I'm imagining, some sort of drilling operation. Maybe there's 2 or 3 vehicles over there with the big, drill or whatever. But I don't have any crisp memory of that, which is just weird. And so I'm going back through the scrub brush. I know that there's kind of a clearing, and there appears to be a road over there. But rather than walking my bike over to the road, I keep walking it through the scrub brush. It makes no sense. But I'm very afraid of those lights and that area over there. So I skirt around. As soon as I get to an open enough segment of the road that I jump on that bike, and I am pedaling to save my life. And I am just terrified, screaming as fast as I can go. I go down this hill and I see a light on at a ranch house. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've left whatever that was back behind me. Now I start thinking, I need to call Cindy, my wife, and let her know, because it's not like a half hour after sunset. It is several hours after sunset. And so I'm just going to stop in on this ranch house and ask them to use the phone. This is 1995. There's no cell phones, right? So I go down this, it's kind of a long dirt driveway. And I stop about halfway down because I realize there's no lights on. I'm thinking, at worst, I might interrupt them in the middle of dinner. No lights on. So then I realize, oh, wow, it must be really late. And so I stop, I turn around, and I go back out to the main dirt road, and I pretty much coast most of the way back to this highway called Highway 85, right? So it's a 4-lane highway, and very little traffic, which is another surprise. If it's just after dark, why isn't there any traffic? There might have been one car every 5 minutes or so. And so finally, I'm starting to feel safe because I'm on this pavement, and there's people around, and I'm like, okay, all right. So, and then that's when I hit the wall. It was a full out bonk, kind of like Heartbreak Hill in the Boston Marathon. And you're like, I just ran into a wall. So I could barely stay on my bike. So I'm cranking, 1, 2, 3. I set up a rhythm, and I climb this shallow hill, and I take a turn, and I see this 7-Eleven. So I stop at the 7-Eleven, and I'm exhausted and super dehydrated. So I go in, I get off my bike, I see a police cruiser in front. And as I'm walking past the police cruiser, windows are down. It's still fairly warm. And I thought I heard my name as I walked by, but I didn't stop. Tradecraft kicks in, and I, I, I'm slow for a little bit, and I just open the door and go in, and I get these 3 32-ounce Gatorade, orange Gatorade jugs, and I downed one of them before I even got to the cash register, and threw a 20 on the counter and walked out. And,
how old are you at this point?
let me see. So this was 95. So I was born in 59. So what's that? 30,
36?
yeah, ish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in pretty good shape.
And are you in Special Forces at this time, or
no, I've just finished 7 years in Special Forces, 5 command tours spread over 7 years. The first of that was as a Pershing II missile guy, and then the final 4 were in special ops.
Okay.
So I felt like I was in pretty good shape.
So get your Gatorade.
Get my Gatorade. Well, the other one I just put in the trash as I was walking out. Cop gets out of the car, comes up, says, "Are you Mr. Blitch?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And I was about to ask him why. Am I in trouble, whatever? He goes, "Okay, well, I just want to let you know your wife called in a missing persons report. And so if it's okay with you, I'm going to radio in that we have found you. And, would you like a ride home?" Now, the ego says, "Hell no, you never accept a ride from anybody. I'm going to carry my own rucksack all the way home, blah, blah, blah." But what I really said was, "Hell yeah, I'd love a ride home," because I was flipping exhausted. So he threw it back, and I go home. And that was that conscious memory. I don't even remember going in the house and climbing into bed. I don't remember anything.